Have you or someone that you know ever dreamt of becoming an entrepreneur? Would you love to finally be able to fire your boss and actually do what you love to do for a living? But wait a second, isn't that super risky? In today's video, we're going to be discussing the 8 major misconceptions about entrepreneurship. My friend, it's time for your mentoring appointment. Come on in. Welcome back to today's mentoring appointment, my friend. So you have been considering becoming an entrepreneur, but of course you hear all of these crazy tales about how hard it is and all these crazy misconceptions about what being an entrepreneur means. My friend, it's time to learn the truth behind those misconceptions. It's time to learn the 8 major misconceptions about being an entrepreneur. Misconception number 1, that it's always extremely risky. To answer this question, it can be risky, but only if you don't know what you're doing. Only if you decide, you know what, I'm gonna go start a business, and you take out $100,000 in loans and you just put it into some crazy business that you have no experience at, then yeah, you're probably going to fail at that business because that's going to be an enormous risk. The way that we do business isn't anything like that. In fact, when I first got started, I was able to do so without any money out of my pocket. I knew that I needed an office space, and I found someone that had some extra space that would allow me to get started with my business and start seeing clients on a percentage basis. Meaning, I paid this person a percentage of what I brought in rather than a set fee. I learned very, very quickly that if you don't know how much money you're going to be bringing in every month, unless you're already bringing in a super substantial amount, it's always best to eliminate as much risk as possible. And in this case, I was able to, again, simply pay a percentage of the amount that I brought in. If I didn't bring anything in, I wasn't out anything. And therefore, it eliminated the risks. Find ways that you can eliminate risks in your life, my friend. Also, remember, do your research. Learn to do what you want to do. If you have zero business experience, yes, you can jump in with both feet as I did, and you can either sink or swim, but guess what? For the first while, we didn't swim. I had to learn the hard way through very, very hard experience how to finally stop taking risks or stop taking what seemed like risks and then begin to turn my business into something very, very successful. Also remember, always follow your intuition. Your intuition, while it may not always make sense, will always guide you along the right path. It may seem like a risk, but trust me, not following intuition is a lot riskier. And staying in a job where you can be terminated at any moment, in my opinion, is much riskier than starting your own business where you're in control of all of your income. Misconception number 2, it requires a lot of capital regardless of what business you're in. Now, I want to clarify something. There are certain businesses that, yes, will require a lot of capital. For example, if you want to open up a whole new restaurant, then yeah, you're probably going to need quite a bit of capital. Because you're going to need to turn a space into a restaurant, you're going to need to get plates, you're going to need to get food, you're going to need to get kitchen equipment, you're going to need to hire people to help cook the food, you're going to have to, come up with a lot of money just to get started. Money that you may or may not make back. Thankfully, there are a lot of industries, including the coaching industry, where people can get started with zero capital. In fact, as I mentioned, I was able to get started without any money up front. Yes, of course, I went and got trained, but I don't count that education as upfront capital. I learned how to do what I do, and I then found a way to start my business without any upfront capital. And if I can do it, so can you. Misconception number 3, entrepreneurs are born. Well, it can be true that some entrepreneurs simply have some innate abilities and innate gifts. Entrepreneurship is a skill that is learned. Again, are some people innately better at it than others? Of course. And am I suggesting that absolutely everyone should be an entrepreneur? No, of course not. It certainly isn't for everyone. However, just like most other skills, learning how to do business, learning how to make money, learning how to be an entrepreneur can very much be learned. Number 4, if I start a business, I have to put in 100 hours every single week because I've got to grind. Now, but let's make something very, very clear. Yes, in some cases, you're going to need to put in long hours. But it doesn't have to be like that every single week. In fact, what I tell people, my mentoring students, is to keep their jobs at first and begin to turn their hobbies into a part-time business. And once they continue to grow, then slowly cut back their hours at their current job. When I first started my healthcare practice, I had 2 afternoons a week in which I would begin to see clients. Well, pretty soon, those afternoons became very, very full, and I realized that I needed to open up more time in my schedule to see clients. So 2 afternoons a week turned into 2 full days. Once those were full, I then opened up 2 more days and spent 4 full days every week in my clinics seeing several people. Again, it doesn't have to be extremely difficult in the very beginning. Now, again, have I put in some long hours? Oh yeah, because there are times when I'll be up extremely late working on marketing projects, writing books, writing CDs, creating different marketing tools, different products and services that we can offer. That's where you're going to spend the majority of your time, working on the back end of things, unless you begin to hire out. Misconception number 5. If I become an entrepreneur, I'll be a bad spouse or a bad parent. Unfortunately, we see this a lot in the business world, especially among women. A lot of women feel compelled in their hearts that they need to contribute more to society, that they have talents and gifts that they ought to be spreading with as many people as possible. Unfortunately, there's this misconception that you have to have one without the other, and that one would take away from the other. My friend, in my experience, following your passion leads you to being better all around. One of the things that I love about my industry is I get to work 90% from home, meaning I get to be here every single day with my kids and my wife. Because I own my own business, I set my own hours. And because my wife homeschools our kids, we actually get to go on vacation anytime we want to. I get to spend, again, more time with my wife, more quality time on vacations, going on dates and spending time with my kids than ever before because I'm an entrepreneur. Remember, if you work for someone else, likely you don't have that flexibility. Usually when people work for someone else, that other person sets their hours and they dictate when they have to be at work and when they can't be working. And so if they want to go on vacation, they have to request work off. And in a lot of cases, it can be a crazy, ridiculous process. My friend, take it from me. You can have all of the above. Becoming an entrepreneur does not have to take away from your role as a spouse or parent, but in fact, it can actually enhance it. I love being able to teach my children how to create things in their life. I love never having to tell my kids that we don't have money for fun things. I love being able to take them out and let's say we go to the movie theater and they want popcorn. I can get them popcorn. It's okay. I don't have to say, well, no, I can't afford that popcorn. Not that you're doing this, but it's a wonderful feeling. Take it from me, my friend. Becoming an entrepreneur can actually enhance all the other areas of your life because you are being fulfilled inside. Number 6, that entrepreneurs are jacks of all trades and they have to know absolutely everything about the ins and outs of their business, including the payroll and the taxes and the technical side of things and how to do marketing and how to do social media. My friend, can I tell you a secret? Most CEOs, myself included, are really terrible at some of the other jobs inside the company. Most CEOs aren't fully trained and aren't amazing at every single other job that they offer within the company. Do you think the president and CEO is an expert hamburger flipper? Probably not, because that isn't where his expertise lies. His expertise lies in leading and growing a company. In fact, I have no idea how to do stuff on the computer. I'm like the biggest technologically challenged person on the planet. But I hire that out. The rule of thumb in business is work your strengths, hire your weaknesses. I don't know where I would be without the people that work for me. They are amazing. I love being able to send one of them a text message and say, hey, we need this done. I have no idea how to do it. Can you do it? And have them respond, absolutely. Wait a second, Eric, but I want to make as much money as possible. Why shouldn't I do everything myself? It's because, again, you can't do everything yourself. Remember, your company and therefore your wealth can only grow to the size of your team. There are only so many hours in the day, my friend, and so you must be focused just on what is going to be most lucrative for you. If you are currently making $100 an hour and there are jobs that can be sourced out for $9 an hour, it's a no-brainer. My friend, what I did after I filled my clinics and I then began to step into the role of mentor was I hired other practitioners to take over the clinics for me. I paid them very, very generously, and that allowed me to receive a little bit of passive business income while still focusing on the higher end projects, which ultimately allowed me to make more money. My friend, you do not have to be a jack of all trades. Again, work your strengths, hire your weaknesses. Misconception number 7. I can't become successful because I don't know how to sell. Now again, yes, in order for you to have a business and in order for you to grow your clientele, you must know how to sell. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Eventually, yes, you can take a back seat and you can hire a sales team, but in order for you to actually gain clients and in order for you to be able to persuade other people to get behind your cause, yes, you must learn how to sell. Thankfully, there are ways that you can learn that skill. This is one of the reasons why we offer our Master of Persuasion class, which I highly invite you to attend. If you feel like you're not a salesperson, great! Don't be a stereotypical salesperson. Don't come off as super salesy, but you must learn how to sell. Again, thankfully, in most cases, this is not an ability that people are born with. In most cases, people simply receive training in order to learn how to sell, and you're no different. Finally, misconception number 8. Entrepreneurs get taxed more than other people. This could not be farther from the truth. In fact, entrepreneurs pay much less in taxes than most other people. Someone who makes the same amount of money that I do, that is a W-2 employee, would probably be taxed something like 6 or 7 times the percentage that I get taxed. And the reason why is entrepreneurs can deduct things. Oh, I love being a business owner because there are tons and tons and tons of deductions that you can legally take advantage of. My friend, entrepreneurs are generally the least taxed people on the planet, at least if they're smart about it. My friend, overcome your misconceptions about being an entrepreneur. Get over your fears. You can be an entrepreneur. Take it from me. If I can do it, so can you. Great job in today's mentoring appointment, my friend. Did you learn something new? Were there any misconceptions that you know of that we didn't get to? Tell us in the comments below. As always, make sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. If you know people that have been considering jumping into entrepreneurship but maybe have some fears, make sure to send them this video. And as always, if you really want to take your life to the next level, make sure to join us at one of our next live events. We'll see you there.